estimated SOF is?
2060. 8. Pit road is closed.
We expect to be fighting for the podium.
Milo, what's happening here?
There's an incident behind.
What the fuck?
Get ready, going green.
Oh, get out!
Get out!
Pace cars in. Green, green, green.
There's an incident
Vas-y,
behind.
gars!
Left side. Clear on the left. Left side. Stay on the right. Clear on the left. Right side. Stay on the left.
Are you stupid?
Clear to the right. Go to the top.
Me personally? Yeah.
Go left.
Oh, shit.
Right side. Clear to the right.
Nah, bro, you actually stupid.
Left side. Stay on the right. Clear on the left. Bro, what are you doing, man?
Right side. Clear to the right.
That was not on me. You moved on the brakes and you know it. Sebastian, you're lap down. Be done.
Rodrigo. Quase.
Go car hail. Left side.
All right, it's checkered flag.
Defesaço.
Great job, driver.
Hoy hablamos. Ideia. Boa. Excelente ideia.
valuable, and worth building. Construction of the USS Akron was completed in 1931, was that had ever been constructed at that point in time. It was capable of carrying several lightweight F-9C Sparrowhawk fighter planes, which could be launched and landed back on board while the airship was in flight, using a specially designed trapeze. The Akron was certainly an impressive airship, but despite the ambitious design, it was plagued by problems. One issue was with the planned spy basket, a basket that could be lowered on a long tether beneath the airship. A single passenger in the basket would be able to take observations from below the level of clouds, while the airship itself remained safe and hidden above. During the first ever unmanned test of this device, however, the basket began swaying violently until it was swinging through an arc of almost 180 degrees beneath the Akron. This movement threatened to destabilize the ship as a whole, and would certainly have ejected any passenger unlucky enough to be in the basket. After some time, it was reeled safely back in, and the planned spy basket was abandoned altogether. Later, on the 11th of May 1932, the Akron arrived at Camp Kearny military base in San Diego. Awaiting it on the ground were dozens of sailors who were tasked with manually securing the airship's mooring lines. Though they were used to carrying out similar tasks as a team, the sailors hadn't had any specific training for dealing with airships before. As the Akron descended, one line was tasks securing the air. Awaiting it on the ground arrived at Camp Kearny military who were tasked with manually securing the airship's mooring lines. One line was successfully secured, but before the other lines could be fixed, the airship began to rise. With its fuel tanks almost empty, it was unusually light, and the morning sunlight striking the outer shell was sufficient to warm the helium within, increasing its lift and forcing the airship into an uncontrolled ascent. At first, the sailors on the ground held on tight to their lines, attempting to stop the airship's rise. Though they strained to keep the Akron under control, it quickly became apparent that this wouldn't be possible. There was no other choice but to cut the one secured mooring line, as leaving it in place would potentially cause the airship to turn on its nose and crash. The moment this line was cut, the Akron shot up into the sky. The majority of the sailors on the ground released their grip on the trailing lines. 4 of them, however, hesitated before letting go, and were dragged up into the air by the ascending airship. With no solid ground beneath their feet, the natural instinct of these 4 men was to cling onto the rope. Only one was able to force himself to let go while still relatively close to the ground. He fell 4.5 meters or 16 feet, broke his arm, but survived. The 3 other sailors held on and within just a few seconds were carried up to a height from which a fall would be fatal. Now, from the ground below, their fellows shouted at them not to let go, and to hold on as tightly as they could. They did exactly this, but as the airship rose higher, 2 of the men lost their grip and fell to their death. The final man, apprentice seaman C.M. Cowart, was able to tie the line around his body. After nearly an hour of dangling high above the earth, he was hauled aboard the Akron and ultimately survived. In a later interview, he said, "I just hung on. I saw the other fellows fall and it didn't make me feel any too good, but there was nothing I could do about it except to hang on tighter." Were published in newspapers. The horrifying nature of what had happened led some crew to question, confirmed by the numerous occasions when it encountered difficulties, struggled through storms, or sustained minor damage during takeoff or landing. But no mishap would take the Akron out of service until the worst accident of all, on the 4th that day, the foggy, and the weather was rapidly worsening. Rain and strong winds buffeted the airship while the crew struggled to make progress through turbulent air and in almost zero visibility. Following a particularly severe bout of turbulence, the airship entered an uncontrolled dive, which was only briefly arrested by the jettisoning of ballast. The Akron soon started descending again until the tail skimmed the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Water flooded into the aircraft as it struggled to rise again, but it was too late. Its nose tilted upwards, and then the USS Akron collapsed into the ocean. The crew of a nearby German merchant ship, the Phoebus, witnessed the crash, but in the extremely poor weather, mistook the airship for a plane. As the wreckage sunk beneath the waves, they dispatched rescue boats and were able to pull 4 men from the water, one of whom died shortly thereafter. Among the survivors was a man named Richard Deal, nicknamed Lucky. He had been given the nickname after narrowly escaping death on board the USS Shenandoah, which had crashed during a thunderstorm in 1925. Richard had been due to be on board the doomed airship, but had been moved at the last minute. Now he had survived again, one of only 3 men to do so out of a crew of 76. It was the most deadly airship accident ever to take place, resulting in twice as many deaths as the world-famous crash of the Hindenburg in 1937. It appeared, following the recovery of bodies, that many crew members had survived the actual crash, only to perish in the rough waters of the Atlantic as a result of drowning, exhaustion, or hypothermia. Following this, American airship crews were issued life jackets to help them survive in the event of a crash landing in water. A few years later, the USS Macon was damaged by
Ah, é? Ué. Ah, é verdade.
Rapaz, assistam a entrevista de... A entrevista não, o programa de Reinaldo Azevedo, quando ele comenta da pesquisa que Paulo Marçal, segundo o mercado, ganharia de Lula. Então, tipo assim, quer dizer que o mercado vai entregar o país, a economia do país, na mão de um coach milagreiro? Rapaz, sensacional.